quick.
Roman now stalking Lesnar. Lesnar runs into a third Superman
Hello,
punch.
WWE Nation. Rivalry Report here, your ultimate update source for all things Squared Circle. Hit that bell and let the action begin. Backstage on Raw, the atmosphere was electric with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Cameras caught Seth Rollins pacing outside the trainer's room, still visibly bruised and fatigued from the chaos of Survivor Series War Games. His movements were restless, deliberate, each step reflecting a mind racing through strategy, suspicion, and frustration. The WWE Universe had been buzzing since the War Games event, with fans, commentators, and analysts all trying to piece together the mystery of the hooded figure who had interfered in CM Punk's match. Rumors and accusations swirled, and all eyes naturally turned to Seth Rollins, who had been rumored to be the masked attacker. Every question from reporters seemed to press a little harder, each one adding fuel to the fire and amplifying the tension backstage. Seth Rollins breaks the silence. Finally, Seth stopped, pivoting to face the swarm of cameras and microphones. His presence immediately commanded attention, the energy in the hallway shifting as reporters waited for his words. "Let me make this perfectly clear," he said, his voice cutting through the noise with authority and clarity. "That wasn't me." Every word carried weight. Rollins' statement was deliberate, measured, and designed to dispel the growing speculation surrounding his involvement. He reminded everyone of the facts. He had been recovering from shoulder surgery, a reality that made it impossible for him to participate in the masked assault. "If I wanted to hit Punk with that stomp, I wouldn't have needed a hood to hide behind," he added, a sharp line that underscored both his credibility and the absurdity of the false accusations. His body language was calm but assertive, every gesture reinforcing his determination to clear his name. The copycat theory Rollins didn't stop there. With a subtle intensity, he introduced a new angle, one that reframed the entire narrative. He suggested that the masked attacker had intentionally copied his signature stomp, a move that was uniquely associated with Rollins and immediately recognizable to fans. "Whoever that guy is, he wants chaos," Seth explained. "He wants it to look like I pulled the trigger, and he's using my moves, my style, to create doubt, to stir suspicion, to throw everyone off the trail." The idea of a copycat added layers to the mystery, suggesting a calculated plan rather than random interference. It also highlighted the strategic thinking of the attacker, who clearly understood not only the moves in the ring, but the psychological impact they would have on the WWE Universe, creating intrigue and mistrust around one of the top performers in the company. Suspicion and strategy. Backstage, the dynamics had shifted. Seth's clarification did more than defend himself. It introduced a new lens through which the mystery could be analyzed. Fans now had to consider the possibility of a new player in the WWE narrative, someone who was bold enough to mimic one of the most well-known performers while remaining unseen. Rollins' insistence on hunting down the truth positioned him as both a protagonist in this developing story and as a figure determined to restore order amid growing chaos. His strategy was clear: remove doubt from his own reputation while actively seeking out the person who had committed the act, ensuring that the narrative would eventually lead to clarity and accountability. Building momentum. As Seth spoke, cameras captured every nuance: the clenched fist, the measured tone, the controlled pacing. It was a masterclass in turning suspicion into drama, in transforming a potentially negative situation into a narrative opportunity. Rollins' vow to hunt down the masked figure signaled that this story was far from over. Every step, every interaction, every glance backstage hinted at future developments, promising a deeper exploration of motivations, alliances, and rivalries. WWE fans could feel the tension building, sensing that the pursuit of the truth would be a central storyline in the weeks to come. A new layer to the mystery. The revelation that the masked attacker had seemingly mimicked Seth's signature stomp created a new layer of intrigue. It wasn't just an attack, it was a narrative device, a psychological ploy designed to generate speculation, stir tension, and involve multiple characters in the storyline. Rollins' insight transformed the event from a single moment of chaos into a multi-dimensional plot point with implications for character development, alliances, and rivalries. The masked attacker was no longer a simple interloper. They were a calculated player in a larger game, someone with an understanding of WWE's storytelling mechanics and the ability to manipulate perception. Rollins' determination. By the end of the interview, Seth made it clear that his focus was unwavering. He was on a mission to identify the masked figure, not only to restore his own reputation, but also to confront the source of chaos. His determination carried the story forward, signaling to fans that action would follow. Rollins' narrative arc had shifted from accused to investigator, from passive participant to active seeker of answers. Every line he spoke, every gesture he made backstage reinforced this transformation, giving the audience a clear sense of direction and stakes as the storyline evolved. Implications for WWE storylines. Seth Rollins' involvement in the Masked Attacker saga had implications beyond just his personal reputation. The narrative ripple extended to CM Punk, other roster members, and the audience's perception of trust and alliances within WWE. Questions now loomed: who else might be implicated? How would the Masked Attacker continue to influence matches and storylines? Rollins' pursuit of the truth added a layer of realism and motivation to the unfolding drama, ensuring that every promo, match, and interaction in the coming weeks could be informed by the search for answers. Leadership and influence. Even outside the ring, Seth demonstrated leadership by taking control of the narrative. Rather than passively responding to accusations, he actively framed the story, highlighting the attacker's tactics and redirecting the audience's attention. This level of control transformed the backstage segment from a defensive statement into a proactive storytelling moment. Rollins' ability to shape perception, influence the audience, and set up future developments showcased his understanding of the WWE Universe, both as a performer and as a storyteller. Maintaining suspense. The mystery of the Masked Attacker remained unresolved, and that was intentional. By hinting at a copycat tactic and emphasizing the calculated nature of the interference, Rollins kept fans guessing. Each detail he provided, his physical limitations, the surgical recovery, the impossibility of his involvement, served to build suspense while subtly providing clues for fans to consider. The storyline balanced clarity with ambiguity, offering just enough information to engage the audience while maintaining the intrigue necessary for a long-term arc. A call to action. Seth's vow to expose the masked figure wasn't just dramatic flair, it was a promise that future shows would continue to explore this mystery. The segment set the stage for confrontations, investigative angles, and potential matchups that could bring resolution. Rollins positioned himself as the central figure in this unfolding narrative, a character both personally invested and strategically aware. The audience was left with anticipation and expectation, knowing that his pursuit would shape storylines, rivalries, and dynamics across multiple WWE programs. Conclusion. A story. Unfolding backstage on Raw, Seth Rollins transformed suspicion into purpose. Through measured statements, keen observations, and a vow to hunt down the masked attacker, he established himself as a proactive, intelligent force in the unfolding narrative. The copycat element, the questions about motive, and the ongoing tension with CM Punk combined to create a multi-layered storyline filled with suspense, intrigue, and emotional stakes. Rollins' presence, demeanor, and strategic thinking reinforced his central role, ensuring that the audience remained engaged and invested. As the weeks progressed, the search for the masked figure promised to drive new conflicts, alliances, and resolutions, with Seth Rollins leading the charge, determined to uncover the truth and restore clarity to a chaotic WWE universe.